Okay. It has actually been a million years since I have done this. And of course, my cam isn't working. Hold. Hold. Back. Are we back? Surely. This ain't it. It's not working. No. Properties. Let's switch this around. Deactivate and activate. Is it working? Is this it? Nice. We love it. So, I'm finally back. I'm finally, so basically, lots of things happened. I bought a house. I had a lot of personal stuff going on, and now I am so excited to get back to planning D&D for realsies. Today I'm so excited because I have, so let me just show you. Let me show you. Hold D&D scene. Okay, let's do this bad boy. So what we have here is the map for my entire world, right? And in this world, we are currently focused into Call with my current group. They don't have an actual name, but I think the Hive Mind is what they're going for because they have these little bee earpieces that they made. So in Dakal, they are currently in this area right here. So they were in, they started in Alnar, traveled to Umbra. In Umbra, which is the capital, they met a bunch of really cool people that are, basically really powerful, so ready to help them out. They have their own shit going on, so of course they can't do everything for the group. But our group decided to go from Umbra to Waha and Raha. And these two, or as my players like to say, Waha and Raha. So, we are in Waha right now. And the special thing about these two cities is that they are basically in the center of them is like an oasis type thing. And the thing about Dakal, which is this whole big country right here, is that a lot of the War of the Cosmos, which was the war between a bunch of the gods in my world, during that war, basically, a lot of it took place in Dakal. So Dakal has just a bunch of weird magic shit that is just going on all over the place. They've got so many just like weird occurrences, weird creatures, weird things that happen, and one of those things are these two pools of magic that allow you to teleport between them in these two oases. So Waha is, just a little bit of background, Waha is known for being a little bit more natural-esque. They worship Melora, and then Raha, it's kind of a little bit more magic-y. People who live there, it's pretty rare for anyone to not have some kind of small glamour on them, or some like a small illusion. And Waha and Raha, usually you have to pay to take the teleportation oasis to the other city. But what my players have discovered through a scavenger hunt, because that's what they like, is that these oases are actually powered by celestials. So they haven't technically figured that out for Raha, but I hope they have a brain, and they are, you know, kind of figuring that out. So that brings us to here. So basically what I did was actually, let me grab my timeline notes. All right, doot. So many pages. Of course, they're going to a graveyard. I think that it is up here. So basically, they go to this inn called the most interesting inn in the world. Um, and there, the innkeep, which is a dude who is hired by another dude, is basically like, well, we have like this cool mystery that of the fireplace that nobody's ever figured out. And of course, my players were like, yes, we want in on that. Thank you, appreciate it. So they stay at this inn. It's kind of a shitty inn. It's very run down. They're not having a good time. And then they check out the fireplace and they pull out a brick, and in there is a key, and it's a key to a safety deposit box. So they go to the safety deposit box, get it unlocked. And inside are 2 bags. One is filled with jewels and one is filled with, I believe it was a key. I think it was a gold key. And there was a note that was basically like, you can choose riches or you can choose gold and blah, 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 blah. And so they chose the key, and that key said, figure me out. So once they went through that, they found that there was magic on this key. They cast a spell magic, and that key turned into a box with a blue crystal inside. They eventually figure out that that crystal is the same color as the oases in the middle, the oasis, I should say, in the middle of Waha is where they are now. So they take that crystal, they hold hands, and they are teleported to another plane when they are holding that crystal. They wander a little bit further into this plane, and it's like this clear crystalline blue. It's like eerily uninhabited. It comes up on the water like the oasis would, but it's like basically light blue glass throughout. And once they get through that, they find this lady who is just floating in midair. She just looks like she's in a trance. Her eyes are open. She has a golden glow in them. And she's just staring straight ahead, obviously in a trance, obviously not conscious. So they decide to try to wake her up, and they do some stuff like, waving in front of her face and like poking her. And eventually they decide to touch the crystal to her, and she wakes up. So now they've met this lady named Tasneem, who is a celestial, and this celestial is going to be so much fun to build out. So right now, basically they took her out. They were like, yo, broski, you shouldn't be trapped in here. And they took her out of the blue plane, and about 15-30 minutes later, the magic of the portal started wearing thin. So they put her back in there. The portal returned to normal, and then they were basically like, okay, you get to make the decision. Do you want to leave or do you want to stay? And she was like, yeah, I think I'll stay. I'll stay and make sure that these people can go about their daily lives, because I don't remember anything. They tried greater restoration on her, which means that her memories are actually extracted from her brain, because modify memory would only cover up memories, and greater restoration would fix that. So what we are doing today is we're going to be creating the mystery of the 2 sisters. So I've already come up with their names. So Tasneem is going to be the celestial sister of Waha, and then Namara is the celestial sister of Raha. They are both, or at least Tasneem was, but not anymore. They were both put under a trance by somebody. They were originally 2 of the angels for blank god. I don't want it to be Arathis or Melora. I'm thinking Paylor, because Dakal is very like, it's a desert, so a lot of the worship there is going to be to Paylor, the sun god, and Ayun, the goddess of knowledge. Probably also Corellon, but I think Corellon's lame, so I kind of forget about him, I'm not gonna lie. So let's change that right now. For Paylor, the god of sun. I would love if Pelor doesn't know where they went. Pelor doesn't know where they went. Maybe he thought they were lost in the War of the Cosmos, because so basically Waha and Raha would have been made after the War of the Cosmos had ended, which was the war between all the gods. And I think I like the idea of just sometimes the Celestials just didn't come back from their fights. So Pelor doesn't know where they went, lost them in the War of the Cosmos. I would love if they were put there by like a powerful wizard. Powerful wizard of some kind, or powerful caster. Maybe even a warlock. Ooh, you know what? If it's a warlock, so the main storyline of this whole thing is devils specifically, but also demons. So there's like a side storyline where somebody's combining devils and demons together, like experiments and stuff. And then there's another side storyline where they met a fortune teller who, fun fact, was actually a projection of Asmodeus, who's the god of the devils, and he's an evil god of so many things. So Asmodeus is going to be our big bad. The idea, like, of course, we're not going to be killing any gods probably in this campaign, but the idea behind the gods is that you can, like, shut them up for a little while. So that will something akin to that will probably end up being our final fight, but we'll have to see how they all react to everything thrown at them. Anyways, so if we have it be a powerful caster, a warlock specifically, then we can have that warlock be of Asmodeus. Deus, there we go. And then that can tie in more to our main storyline. So when they end up deciding whatever they're going to decide for the two sisters, either leaving them there to be batteries for the two portals, which we'll see if like maybe they work out something with the cities to have them, like that's their day job is to sit in the portals, you know? But once we figure out whether or not they will keep the two Celestials in there to be not human batteries, but humanoid batteries, then I think once that magic is if that magic ends up being disturbed, the magic is disturbed, then maybe the warlock is notified. And then they start hunting the party. I kind of like that. I do. So, Pelor doesn't know where they went, lost them in the War of the Cosmos. Were put there by a powerful caster. So, something that is important is there is this guy named Adwin. He's the owner and the creator of the most interesting inn in the world. So, I think that, so basically my players did so much research last game. Tasneem, where is it? Archive. The archives. All right. So basically, most interesting in the world, comma the. The name for the business owner was blacked out, but they, through some good ability checks, they were basically able to make out the name, which was Adwin, which is also the name of the guy paying the dude who is running the inn for him. So the he built the inn 200 years ago, had a child 210 years ago, and then the child died 70 years ago. There is another newspaper clipping from 300 years ago, so 100 years before the inn was built, showing that Adwin had come to the city and that he was an associate of some kind with the leader of Dakal. And the leader of Dakal is the probably one of the most powerful people. We, as the DM, know that they are the original learned caster. So in my world, the original learned caster is... Surely my camera doesn't freeze again. That's crazy. Hold. Camera. Right click properties. Deactivate and activate. Surely it's working now. I think it is. Let's go. Sick. Okay. So we know as the DM that the leader of Tikal is the original caster. In my world, the original caster, we're not talking about clerics or druids or people who were given their power by the gods or genetics or yeah, basically the gods or genetics. The first learned casters were bards, and specifically this bard. They are currently the leader of Tikal, which my players are slowly beginning to figure out, and this bard had a golden lute that turned into a golden comb, and like it can transmute itself. It's got a bunch of different powers on it. They are doing research into it through a family of merfolk back in Umbra. So that's a little bit of a side tangent, but it does connect those two characters. So Adwin is someone not only of social power with that connection to the ruler of Tikal, but also of actual power because of the magical the key that they found that they dispel magic on to bring that box which had the crystal inside. And not obviously to them, I don't know if they've figured this out yet, but the crystal was created by Adwin to be able to go in and free Tasneem from her hold. So that brings us to what we have to map out a little bit. Basically, Adwin, I think, is going to be under a curse where he can't do anything to show where the sisters are. And this was crafted by the Warlock. He created that scavenger hunt as kind of a loophole, which I think is so... I think that's going to be, like, poetically appropriate because, if we're going with the idea that the warlock is a warlock of Asmodeus, and then we think about devils and how they make deals, and then they are like pretty infamous in lore and storytelling for finding loopholes that go for their that go towards their endeavors and that are against whoever the other deal holder is. I think that's just a little poetic, you know, that Adwin found a loophole to be able to try and help Tasneem. So it can't do anything to show where the sisters are and can't help them. What we are actually going to have to end up doing is either Adwin did not create a scavenger hunt for Tasneem's side, or he made one that is just in a completely different location elsewhere. So maybe what they end up having to do is reverse engineer how they found out about Tasneem. So how it went for them was they found the scavenger hunt first. They went and got the item for the scavenger hunt. They teleported using the item from the scavenger hunt, and then they found out about Adwin and Aisloof. I think it has a T actually. Aisloof. Very good. Aisloof, and they are like slowly figuring out what's going on that front. What I think I kind of want them to do is for Adwin to have made another scavenger hunt in Raha. So Adwin made another scavenger hunt in Raha. But this time, it's not just something they're gonna happen across. They may have to go into the business records and find records that are linked to Adwin. They will have to reverse engineer their search for Raha's crystal. Because basically this crystal allows you to access that demi-plane. So, example, finding businesses that Adwin had a hand in. I think for Adwin, I'll put this here. I think for Adwin as well, he found out about the Tasneem, because the inn opened 200 years ago. I think it would be fun if either the creation of the inn was specifically for this scavenger hunt, or he opened another business in Raha for the other half of the scavenger hunt. So we'll say he found out about Tasneem roughly 200 years ago. 200 years ago. Because I'm trying to think about how long. It would probably, because he's a caster, is what I'm pretty certain about. Since he's a caster, I think he would probably not have to take very long to build a building. So it would probably depend on what spells he'd have. But if he's a wizard, which wizards are a lot more, everyone can craft and create magical items in my world. But it is very much a like wizardy realm of knowledge, I would say. So Adwin is under a curse where he can't do anything to show where the sisters are, and he can't help them, which is crafted by the warlock. This curse was. He created that scavenger hunt to help with finding Tasneem. He found out about Tasneem roughly 200 years ago, creating the inn and the scavenger hunt. In the years following, Adwin made another scavenger hunt in Raha. They will have to reverse engineer their search for Raha's crystal. Example, I put 2 colons. Finding businesses that Adwin had a hand in. So another thing is that so way back when, actually let me show you, because it is my masterpiece. It truly is my masterpiece. Roll 20, open up Buckaroo. Let me log in first. Hold. So I made them this huge dungeon that was basically a shit ton of puzzles, a few fights, and they got some cool items out of it. So what my players have been asking from me, which of course we've been not playing like months in between our games sometimes at this point, because we're all adults with busy lives, you know. So not only is it hard to just shove that in narratively, it is also hard to oh god, so many things have changed. Where am I? Where are we? Is this the button? That's the button. So basically it's been kind of hard to fulfill that desire to have another dungeon crawl, especially one as intricate as this was. So this is what I made. Oh god, I forgot I turned off hardware acceleration because me and my friends were watching a movie on Discord the other day. So basically, what I did was I created dynamic lighting, which was so hard, but so rewarding. Like, look at this. This is so cool. Like, and if you're a player, you can't see past where your light is. It's just so fun. It was so much fun for them. It was fun for me. It was a good time. So basically, a lot of these rooms had puzzles in them. They had fights. This one I'm very proud of because they have like different auras around them that determine how the ones around them shift. So it's just cool stuff like that. Oh, this one was a like organize the pictures based on what made sense in the story. Like this kind of stuff is just, it was so much fun to make. It was so much work, and I think I'm gonna have a hard time making another one. But we'll do another stream with making the next dungeon, I think. But anyway, my players want to do another dungeon crawl, so maybe what I'll have them do, or maybe Tasneem's was very straightforward. Her demiplane was just basically light blue crystal glass throughout everything that, oh god, properties, deactivate and reactivate. Don't know why my camera keeps freezing, but alas, we're back. So what I kind of want to do is have Tasneem and Namara be not necessarily complete opposites, but kind of foils of each other. So Tasneem's realm was like the oasis water that led up to basically this flat crystal light blue landscape, the same color as the water, but it was like a glass surface, and it was just nothing for miles and miles and miles. Namara, oh my god, you know what would be so cool? So Tasneem has no memories at all. What would be so cool would be for Namara to not know what memories are real. Like, she has just random people's memories implanted into her brain. I think that would be so cool. Okay. Let's do Namara's realm is, I think I want Namara's realm to be the exact opposite. So what it is going to be a maze. It's going to basically be a dungeon crawl. There's gonna be fights, there's gonna be creatures, there's gonna be so much happening, and it's all going to be confusing. So much happening, and it's all confusing. I do want there to be patterns. Like, oh, what if we made like a, not necessarily like a weather, maybe a weather puzzle would actually be cool. Like, you can only travel at certain times or during certain weather, or you have to travel in a certain way through this dungeon crawl when certain like natural effects are happening. Okay, let's do this. When certain natural effects happen, they have to travel a certain way. Let's do like a little ideas section. Ideas. Boop. And boop. There are patterns they can figure out. I'm a pretty, like, just as a heads up, I'm a pretty lenient DM. When my players can't figure out when, like, what is happening or what they're supposed to do, I do give them hints. So things like this, where I don't know if they, like, let's say when it's raining, they have to move stealthily, which means at half speed. They or they take damage, or they get lost, or like some wild effect happens, or they take an exhaustion level, something like that. I will, to some degree, make it pretty clear that it is the rain effect that is causing that, and that in itself is a puzzle. I won't tell them how to solve it, but I'll tell them, like, okay, this rain has suddenly appeared, and all of a sudden you feel fatigued. You feel like you can't move as fast. You feel like you are getting lethargic. And then if they keep going, they take an exhaustion level. And they keep going, they take an exhaustion level. You know, something like that. So, I also have this rule where if they can't figure out a puzzle, then they can ask for hints, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think that Dungeons and Dragons is for fun, and if your players aren't having fun, what are you doing? You know what I mean? They can be, like, I love it when my players are upset about something, as in, like, upset about how a character is treated, or upset about, like, an event that is happening, or the politics of a world, or what have you. But I don't love when they're upset because the mechanics of the game are not apparent to them. I just think that takes away from the fun. So, just a heads up, that is how I run my stuff. So Nomara's Realm is a maze. It's gonna be a dungeon crawl. So much happening, it's all confusing. There are patterns they can figure out, creatures all over the place that don't make sense in the realm. I want overgrowth. I want just the exact opposite of the, like, minimalism and flatness of the other realm. Nimara herself has too many memories. None of them are her own, and she is kind of crazy. She's kind of going mad because of them. I like that. It gives a good dichotomy and line between the sisters, and it also gives my players two separate problems to solve. Both finding their memories and getting the memories out of Nimara's brain. So, I guess the only real concern I would have with this specific idea, I think, is that Modify Memory is the only, like, real spell where you can put memories into people's brains. But for Tasneem, what we did was we didn't just cover up the memories, we took them out of her brain. So what I kind of want is maybe there's some kind of, maybe the warlock is like a dream centric kind of guy. I don't know, something like that. Maybe something more dream centric, something more, I don't know. Give me 1 second. My dog needs to be let outside. I'll be right back. Okay, she just had to yell. She was just like, hey, I feel like I'm being ignored and I don't appreciate it. Okay. Good girl. So, someone who's more dream or memory focused. The thing is, let me see if we have a, 1 second. Let me see if, so I've done like a full info for all the gods. I don't know if I completed Asmodeus. I think I did. Yeah, let's take a look at this. So basically he's a big avatars or projection kind of guy. Let's see. Was it a lawful creature? He wants to become the ruler of the universe. Classic. Wanted to take over the multiverse for himself was a known fact. He believed that a bright future awaited the multiverse was too lit. Okay. Abilities! Okay. Could take the life of the mortal at any time. So any of his followers is going to have this part of their deal that he can take their life if he was not appeased with sacrifices. What if they sacrifice memories? That would actually be so interesting. So the warlock, ¿Dónde estás? The let's do this. Namara. Put Namara's stuff over twice. Lovely. Okay. Now we can be organized. So the warlock has to make sacrifices to Asmodeus in order to keep his life. Or let's do their. I haven't decided on gender yet. Their life. The warlock sacrifices memories. So what this might mean is that my players will have to go to the Nine Hells and in order to retrieve those memories, which I think is going to be interesting. Or they may have to, because one of my players, Ori, who is the tiefling, she has a book of demon summoning specifically. So what that means is that they may be able to create a connection to Asmodeus and make a deal with him in order to get the memories back. I think there's a lot of ways this could go. It's going to be very interesting to see. Okay. The warlock sacrifices memories. The players will have to get the memories back from Asmodeus. That'll be so interesting. And then we could go like, oh, hello, Angry Meatball. Asmodeus, at least in literature, is the Lord of Lust. He knows exactly what you want and how to use it against you. I'd imagine one of the longtime followers would have similar abilities. Maybe they have a lot of charming powers. What would you trade to get the one thing you want in the world, or keep the only thing you love in the world? Yeah, that's the other thing, is we have to come up with a, God, my brain, a motivation for this character as well. So the easy answer, I think, is that they wanted to make Raha and Waha the basically trading hubs, which of course would make this character rich. And by trapping the two Celestials inside the portals, it would mean that they would basically just have free teleportation between these two, not huge cities, but two decently sized cities, and that they could have a free way to travel quite a distance. That feels a little easy, especially with the idea that the warlock sacrifices memory. I kind of want to play off of that a little bit, I think. Maybe we could go the route of their brain is a little broken, and so they have this idea in their head that if they sacrifice memories, they'll be able to get their loved ones' memories back, or get their own memories back. Or maybe Asmodeus has a hold of their memories or something like that. And there's like a certain quota that this character has to meet. A warlock has to do things for their patron in exchange for their power, right? So Asmodeus has to be getting something out of this exchange. Yeah, so the idea is that this character sacrifices memories. in my mind, the idea behind this would be that if somebody is missing their memories, it is more likely for them to contact Asmodeus and try to strike a deal with him in order to get their memories back, or get the memories back of someone they know. So it's blackmail is the word. He's holding their memories hostage, basically. So I think that's the motivation for Asmodeus, because I think Asmodeus is very much a long con kind of guy. Like, he is, especially with these seeds that I've planted in this game, my characters have actually already met Asmodeus. They just don't know it yet. There was a fortune teller that they met named Fadri, and she is one of their favorite characters, which I think is so funny. But this fortune teller not only knows a lot about them, which is going to be fun, I think, in the future, as he starts to use, as they start getting closer to the big bad, like, storyline, and start working more through it, they're going to find that their enemy has a lot of information on them, and has a lot of information that they can use against them, including, like, emotional damage. Kind of fun stuff. So I think this character, anyways, I digress. Asmodeus, I think, is very much a long con kind of guy. He sows seeds everywhere, and eventually, patiently, with, I don't want to say minimal effort, but with enough finesse and enough patience, these seeds grow to be something that he can put on their side. So I don't know if this is the type of character who would, like, make a false god cult situation, but a little on a more individualistic level, have, like, fanatics that believe in his world, have characters that people trust in this world that are actually him or his subordinates, stuff like that. So in my mind, Asmodeus is a long con kind of guy, and having memories of people is so valuable, especially if those people themselves are powerful, because knowledge is just so valuable, especially in this world, I think. Because I love wizards. I do. I won't lie. They're my favorite, and that's not gonna change anytime soon. Anyways, that was a big digression on Asmodeus. So the warlock has to make sacrifices to Asmodeus in order to keep their life. The warlock sacrifices memories. The players will have to get the memories back from Asmodeus. So they have a lot of ways they can end up doing that. They could make a deal with him. They could go to the Nine Hells and take it back from wherever he keeps them. Probably not somewhere super secure, but secure enough that they would have a hard time doing it. Alrighty. There is one more thing that I do want to kind of establish, and that is Isloof. So Isloof was Adwin's child. They were part of a group called the Ivory Tears, which is they do thievery, but it was a lot more violent acts. The Ivory Tears, very much to me, is a more emotional name, because when you put tears in anything, it just instantly is like you are sad about something. There is something that you are focused on that is causing you to cry. So, not to get too deep into a very basic name that I randomly came up with during the session, but I would like for this group to have a motivation that is not just money or just power. Maybe they have a grievance. Maybe our warlock is one of the higher ups in government. Maybe the Ivory Tears are violent not because they're just a gang who has territory, but because they are a little bit more aware than everyone else believes. Maybe the Ivory Tears are seen as a little crazy. All right. Whoops. Tears are seen as a bit crazy and fanatic. They are violent, specifically against governing forces. What we could do, oh my god. What we could do is the leaders of Raha and Waha, like is mayor the right word for a city? Mayor? The mayors of those towns, or I guess the lords of those towns, would be, maybe they are the same person. Maybe they are both the warlock. The warlock is the leader of both cities, but has two different personas that they rule them with. What would make that even more fun is, according to what they found in the archives, I can't remember how long ago I made it, but they found out, oh, it was at the very beginning of when the cities were created. Basically the two cities fought each other. So maybe the warlock used the fight between the two cities as a way to cover that they were taking people and their memories. They could have either like killed those people, or like just a lot of people had amnesia at that time and they just thought it was a side effect or something. Okay, several people ended up with amnesia or just disappearing. So basically the two cities were fighting over control over both of the portals instead of working together to just make it okay to pass through either one of them. And they ended up on a truce that was like, okay, nobody can stop someone from coming out of the portal. Was basically what their agreement was. So Warlock used the fight between the two cities as a way to cover that they were taking people and their memories. Several people ended up with amnesia or just disappearing during this time. Okay. Let's run through this. Adwin is under a curse. He can't do anything to show where the sisters are and can't help them. Created that scavenger hunt to help with finding Tasneem, because when they did the scavenger hunt, he never told them where to find her, never showed them how to find her, just had a crystal that he had created that was attuned with that demi-plane so that they could travel between them. Created the scavenger hunt. He found out about Tasneem roughly 200 years ago, creating the inn and the scavenger hunt. In the years following, Adwin made another scavenger hunt in Raha. They will have to reverse engineer their search for Raha's crystal. Example, finding out finding the businesses that Adwin had a hand in. So Isloof was part of the Ivory Tears. Ivory Tears are seen as a bit crazy and fanatic. They are violent, specifically against governing forces. So probably government forces. Someone in the organization is aware that the leaders of the two cities are the same person. Maybe Isloof went to found like notes from Adwin and put the pieces together. Let's do Isloof put the pieces together of what their father was doing was doing and joined the Ivory Tears as his as their own way of fighting back. I would imagine that Adwin was probably like a no violence, lover not a fighter type vibe, and then Aizluv was like, fuck that. Fuck you. We gotta do something about this because there's obviously corruption that runs deep. So I think that's fun. I do. Okay, so Adwin is a lover. Aizluv is a fighter. Easy dub. Okay. So their relationship is pretty defined. I like that. The sisters were put there by a powerful caster, a warlock of Asmodeus. If the magic is disturbed, then the warlock is notified. So what I think, so they took her out of the portal, or out of the demi-plane, I should say. So more than likely, the warlock is already aware that somebody has found her, is my guess. So let's put that at the end. Warlock knows the demi-plane was disturbed. Likely send someone to investigate. Okay, Rosie actually has to go out this time, so I'll be right back. What are you doing? So funny. She's just staring at me outside. I don't understand. Okay. So the sisters were put there by a powerful caster, the warlock of Asmodeus. If the magic is disturbed, then the warlock is notified and they start hunting the party. The warlock has to make sacrifices to Asmodeus in order to keep their life. The warlock sacrifices memories. The players will have to get the memories back from Asmodeus if they want to. For Namara, that's going to be a more interesting situation. I think what they'll have to do is get the warlock to either they'll learn a spell where they can extract memories, or they will have the which will be like a fucking 9th level spell or some shit. Or they will have to get a higher power to, like, cleanse the memories or something like that. She's gotta come back in. I'll be back. Okay. All right. And for Namara, they will likely have to learn the memory extraction spell. So what I think happened was this warlock had Namara and just stuffed a whole bunch of random people's memories in her brain during that war. And the demi-planes could be a reflection of their innerness, so their inner brain. Tasneem's is so just barren and flat and nothing going on except for the magic of the portal. And Namara's is so full of just a whole myriad of crazy things because the demi-planes are a reflection of themselves. So once Namara's memories are less fucky wucky, then the demiplane will respond to that by turning more to what represents Namara as a person rather than what was just shoved into her brain. I think that's fun. I think that's really fun. Okay. When Tasneem gets memories back, I think I will put this actually down here. Tasneem gets memories. It will reflect her memories and true personality when Namara gets memories back. It will reflect her true memories and personality. God. Yes. Okay. Or get a greater being to help them. Easy. Okay. They were God. They were originally two angels for Pelor. Pelor doesn't know where they went, lost them in the war of the cosmos. Waha is Tasneem, Raha is Namara. Namara herself has too many memories, none of them are her own, and she's kind of going mad because of them. Namara's realm is a maze, gonna be a dungeon crawl, so much happening, it's all confusing. There are patterns they can figure out, creatures all over the place that don't make sense in the realm, overgrowth, etc. etc. So when certain natural effects happen, they have to travel a certain way. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. I think that I will actually do the... I think what we'll do is we'll build the dungeon crawl another day. So I'll come up with a short list of, like, in the realm itself stuff. And then, so we'll have a list of, like, effects that they have to go through or puzzles that they have to solve within the actual world of the demiplane, and then we will come up with the actual dungeon crawl. So the puzzles, the fights, all that fun stuff, we will build it. We will build it out like we did the Cave of the Elements, which was so much fun, so long ago. So I think that is where we will end today, methinks. So yeah, thank you for hanging out. Thanks for talking. I love talking about demons, and I love talking about celestials, and I love talking D&D. So thanks for joining me. You have a good one. Oh God, how do I stop this again? Yeah, I figured it out.